Dell OptiPlex 3070. We're gonna refurbish this PC. We're gonna install a new solid state and M2. We're gonna double the RAM. We're gonna clean out the CPU and a CPU cooler. And we're gonna install Windows from scratch, a fresh install, make sure everything is up to date. And I'm gonna send this computer out to one of you. Actually, quite a few of you, almost 10 people so far applied to this program. When I have these computers coming back from different offices and clients, we are removing the original drive for privacy and safety reasons. Make sure no client data is actually leaving anywhere or going out even by accident. And I'm getting new solid states drives, and I'm going to install in the computer. If the computer needs RAM, maybe a better CPU, I'm going to do that. I'm going to install Windows 10 or Windows 11 on it, and I'm going to ship out to you. If you are somebody who needs a computer, really needs a computer but can't afford it, these still have light left in them. Some of them are only 3 years old, some of them are 5, 6, even 7, but still completely capable to perform basic jobs on a day-to-day routine. Or if you are somebody who wants to learn things and don't have a computer to practice with, you want to install Linux, you want to try virtualization, you want to install pfSense, a firewall, or a file server, and really just want to try things, this is an absolute gold opportunity because I can provide you the PC for free. I'm only asking for shipping to cover shipping so I can do this to more people. So I'm already buying RAM, solid state, and CPUs. So I'm putting my own money in it. I have no sponsors on this channel. You are the sponsor by watching this video, commenting, liking, and potentially hitting the subscribe button. So this PC is technically, I thought it's going to be the first PC, but the first PC is already left for one of you. The OptiPlex, the very first PC, what we did in this series, is already working at somebody and makes somebody happy, which makes me happy. So let's get into this and see what we have here. So this OptiPlex 3070 is a super popular business class machine. This PC can last easily 10 to 12 years. After running in a business for about 5, 6, 7, or even 8 years, we usually pull them out of production somewhere around 5 years. This is the point when a PC would need probably a new solid state, would probably use some RAM upgrade, probably needs a good amount of maintenance, and probably Windows needs to be reinstalled to make sure that everything is running on as smooth and as fast as possible. So normally this would cost a client somewhere between 200, depends on what kind of parts do we have to put in, what needs to be replaced, at least $200, $300. If you watch my previous video, if you go and get the Dell OptiPlex 7010 2023 model, it runs around $600, $650. Everything is brand new from Dell. It has a 3-year on-site warranty, has 16 gigs of RAM, a 250 SSD, and a 13 Gen i5. So for a business, it's not worth for paying us $200, $250 to refurbish an already old computer. It makes no sense. They're usually just getting rid of these, which is a good opportunity for a lot of us, or for a lot of you, because you can get still a functional PC for less than $100. If you go on eBay and looking at these computers, you can get them for like $80, $100, $150. So instead of me putting these computers in a recycling center for getting scrap for metal, anything valuable on a circuit board, I'm going to try to send these out and give you the opportunity to learn things. I got a lot of email. This channel is not that old. It's not that old, and I'm already getting so many emails. How do you become a technician? Like, do you go to school? Like, nobody wants to hire me, even an intern, because I have no experience. I'm not familiar with computers. I don't know the parts. I don't know how to do a printer install or how to do a driver install. So this is a good opportunity. Watch my previous video, everything was explained there. So let's get into this. I'm gonna remove the top cover, and it's no better computer than a business class to start this whole process because they are very easy to work with. Everything is standardized, and a lot of people are complaining about this is a Dell specific power supply, a Dell specific cooler, a Dell specific bracket, a Dell specific motherboard, and that's why it's so easy. And if you ever need a part for any of these computers, you go to eBay, get a motherboard for 20 bucks. Get a power supply for $8 or $10 and shipping. It's super affordable because we have so many available after they reached quote unquote their lifetime. and an office or a business environment. But let's just look at what we have here. So this 3070 is actually one of my favorite desktop because it has everything on it. Has a VGA, has a HDMI, and a display port. So it doesn't matter what kind of monitor do you have at home, without any kind of adapter or converter, this will work right off the bat no matter what. We have 4 USB on the backside and a hardwired connection. These computers has no Wi-Fi, and that's for the reason most of my clients are legal, education, or healthcare, so Wi-Fi would be a potential problem for me. Just one thing I don't need. Everything is hardwired, even in 2024, so I would disable it or remove it. But a lot of them, we don't even buy it because this would be a cost which would have no return on it for a client. So if you need a Wi-Fi, you can use a USB dongle, or you can find out what is the actual physical card supported by the motherboard or supported by the chipset, and then you can install a card in this PCI slot in here, and then you can have the external antenna. Maybe you're gonna do one of them just so you would be familiar, and a lot of them has a Wi-Fi card, like an M2 version on the circuit board, so you don't need to utilize this PCI at all. You can just use it as internal, or you can still pull out the antenna cables and hook it up. I think it's hooks up right here, the original Dell stuff. So let's take off the front bezel. And normally what I do is I don't use compressed air, neither an air compressor. I just use a brush and just brush the dust off. The air compressor can spin up the fan on a significantly higher speed than it was designed to, especially if it's a video card or something small with a small fan. The power supply fan in here, and by that spinning on a higher RPM, the used fan gonna start rattling after that. So you do more harm by doing it, by not doing it. Also, if you use canned air, the temperature is really cold coming out. It's really frosting parts on a circuit board or parts on a component. Do not do that. So this has a latch system, which is pretty awesome. Take out this caddy. It's actually very easy. All you have to do is slide this latch to the open position, and this whole caddy just comes out. You see the DVD reader or writer is positioned underneath. You can just unplug the SATA cables, and we can put this stuff away. So as you can see, this has no hard drive. So we could have an M2 drive. It could be a 2230 or 2280, depends on what you have. And also you can have a 3.5 SATA drive in here, or we can put a reducer in it and reduce it down to a 2.5. And I made my decision to use only M2, so therefore you can put a backup drive or secondary drive for data, or even a 2.5 SATA in here with a reducer. Or as I've seen it before, people are using double-sided tape just to secure it down in here, the solid state, and using the already provided power cable and SATA cable here for a drive. So this is a nice feature. So I'm not gonna do that. I cannot give all of you an extra drive. Even just buying these solid state drives, it comes with a cost. So the way I figured out what kind of RAM the computer has, besides looking at the manual, the easiest thing, if you have one stick and you just want to double up the RAM, go to eBay. That's going to be the cheapest option, and look at this long number in here, the actual model number. It's on the RAM, and just find it on eBay and buy a matching pair, and that way it will be compatible for 100%. And since it's all business class, these are DDR4 coming out massively from corporates. They are available. We have a flood of these, and they are so affordable because of that. So instead of giving you 8 gigs, you're gonna have 16 gigs. So what would be a standard configuration in 2024, which I would recommend as a home PC or office PC? I would see at least a Gen 8 i5, at least 16 gigs of RAM, and at least a 250 SSD. If you have a Gen 6 or Gen 4, absolutely, it doesn't need to be thrown away. But if you would purchase something, I would say your bare minimum should be an i5 Gen 8 or Gen 9, or anything newer than that. At least 16 gigs of RAM and at least a 250 SSD. No more regular hard drives. The performance difference is day and night compared to an old-fashioned hard drive versus a solid state. It's unmatchable. The PC will be booting up in seconds with a solid state versus an old-fashioned hard drive. So as you can see, I was able to nail it, and I was able to purchase the matching RAM. They are completely identical. So we're gonna put these in, and I'm gonna install the M2. Now you have to be careful. You really have to look at the manual, because some of these business class, the older models, only using SATA M2, and some of them are using the NVMe. So it's different. So if you buy the non-matching one, the SATA, and the motherboard is not supporting it, physically it will go in, but it will not work. Same thing backwards. So you have to pay attention what you're doing. For a lot of people, they just throw this in because it doesn't matter what's on the circuit board or a motherboard, this will support it no matter what. So this is a good option if you buy a drive, or if you buy any of these pieces without it. So I'm gonna remove the CPU cooler. We're gonna see how dirty it is. We're gonna redo the thermal paste. I would not send the PC out without this work. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the fan from here. Okay. All right. So it's just 4 screws. I'm gonna go for the opposite corners. It's already marked in here. Everything in a business class machine is standardized. If you've seen one like 10 years ago, everything will be the same. Oh, by the way, how do you know how old is the PC? Like Scott, you said generation 8, generation 9. What does it even mean? So every year, pretty much with Intel, is a generation. So if I say generation 8, you have to add 10 to it. 8 plus 10, 18. It means this PC or this CPU was released in 2018, so it's about 6 years old. Now maybe this was sitting on a shelf, maybe it got later in production, so maybe it's not 6 years old, maybe it's just 5. So this is generation 9. Same thing, add 10 to it, because that's what it's came out. So it's 2019. So this PC is about 5 years old, maybe 4, something like that. So if you have a Gen 4, that would be 2014, which would make it 10 years old. So that's the new OptiPlex, which I reviewed a couple of days ago, 7020. They released this model in 2024, but it's already existed 10 years ago. So we are recycling, reusing the model numbers. So a lot of people think that's, oh, there is a 7010 or a 7020 on eBay or Amazon for $200 or $300. I'm just gonna buy that. What a bargain, because I just watched Scott's video talking about this PC starts at $800. So, and they are unfortunately buying a 10-year-old PC. So that's that. Let's be smarter than that, and let's not do that. If you have a 10-year-old PC and it still works, yes, use it, get as much as you can out of it, and it's great as long as you're happy. What is a slow computer? It's different for every single one of you. A slow computer for me, it's very different than a slow computer for somebody else. You might have the time, the patience, this is what you got used to. I do this for a living, and I have to close tickets. So if the computer is slow and sluggish, I'm technically sitting in the same boat as the employee. I can't get my job done fast enough because the computer is sluggish. If you are billing other customers or generating revenue for a company, it's worth the company for replacing these PCs every 4, 5, or 6 or 8 years instead of having a slow computer at the employee. So just to cleaning this out, the caked up thermal paste, this is completely caked up like dry clay. I'm gonna use baby wipes. It's just a wet wipe. It's super affordable. You can go to any of the big box stores. For $20, you can get over 1,000 of these wipes. So I'm using just one to clean out the CPU. So the fan is significantly better without the caking. And I have a same problem in here. As you can see, this thermal paste is not gooey or soft as it should be. It's just completely caked up. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the CPU and just wipe the surface off. Can I do this inside the PC? Yes, you can, but this little piece of particles from the old thermal paste would land in a computer case, which should not be a problem. It's silicone based, it's not metal, it's not gonna conduct electricity, but it's gonna be much cleaner. When you remove the CPU, you have to be really careful and remember what direction it actually came out. You cannot put it in backwards. The computer will not boot. Most likely it will survive if you put it in backwards and clamp it down, but let's not try it. So just remember, and if you're not familiar with anything, take pictures. every time you about to remove a component, a cable, take a picture, so it's going to be easy to just go back on your phone and just browse through the pictures and see how it looked like originally. So I'm going to put the CPU back, and I'm going to go ahead and clamp it down, and this is done. So I'm going to get, as a next move, some thermal grease. This is on eBay. I think I bought a 10 pack, which comes in 10 of these. It was less than $15, I believe. And I'm just gonna put some dots in here. And you probably don't need a spatula, what I normally do, and distribute this evenly. I just like the way it looks. I'm pretty sure when you clamp this down, just by the force, this will flat everything out. But I like to see how already everything is, make sure that every part of the CPU is covered. So I'm going to use this spatula, it came with a kit, and just gently, slowly start distributing this new thermal paste over here. Well, is this even worse or makes any sense? It does, but if you work on a laptop and you have to take it apart, I started doing this by default, even if the laptop is just 2 years old, because I noticed that it could be somewhere between 10 to 20% performance gain on an older laptop just to do this, just replacing the thermal paste and cleaning out the actual cooler. Like, this PC is not bad at all. Depends on what environment the PC was actually in. Had they had carpet, had they had bare floors, was the PC down on the floor, or was it on top of the desk? I can pretty much tell by looking at it and just guessing it if the PC was down and they had carpet or not, or was on the top of the desk. It's really telling. So normally this fan might be clogged. Like, this is not bad at all. I'm pretty sure I have some examples how the bad or clogged fan would be. In this case, I would disassemble that and clean it out. This is pristine clean. This is as clean as it gets. So I'm gonna leave this in here. Hold on to that thought for 1 second. So this would be a clogged fan. This would be about 20% performance lost just because of the inefficient cooling. So if you have something like this, make sure you clean it. All right, so let's put the cooler back. While I'm putting the cooler back, first of all, I'm gonna connect the cable because I have space right now with my hand. The cooler is not here, so everything fits nicely. But once I put the cooler in it, all of a sudden we are reducing the amount of space what you have for your hand. So this was significantly easier to put the connector on it. Same thing with the RAM. It looks like we're still gonna have enough space. Otherwise, I would just put the RAM in it already. So just like a car tire, we go in opposite corners. I'm gonna start clamping down on one side and then start clamping down on the other side. Make sure that everything is lined up and everything is catching a thread. I'm not using power tools. Don't do that. By hand, you can feel if the actual bolt or screw is catching the thread or not. It's very easy to break the head of the screw and make it unusable or unworkable, or just strip the threads in a knot, and you're not gonna be able to put it back, and that would be really bad, especially with a piece which needs to be tight as anything, like the CPU cooler. Okay, so this is done. This is done and done. I'm gonna install this M2. This will be significantly faster than what we had before. If you are new and thinking about to work on computers, just make sure you get a good set and make sure you have a magnetic end or head. It's very easy to work with a screw if the screwdriver is magnetic and you don't have to hold up this teeny tiny screw. If you see the black tip, the end of the screwdriver, it usually means it's magnetic, so you will not drop the screws and it's going to be very easy. It's day and night to work on. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the RAM what we have, just a visual check and make sure that these are identical. 2666V, 2666V, UA2, UA2-11-11. So this is 100% matching RAM. It will work in pair. Is it a problem if you put HP RAM in it or put Lenovo RAM in it? No, as long as the specs are matching what's at Dell.com. Even if you are one HP and one Dell, or an unbranded and versus branded. As long as the settings are matched, they work fine. Even if they are unmatched, there's a possibility they're still gonna turn on, but will be running on the speed, whatever the slowest stick is actually running on. So now it's time to put everything back. I'm just gonna make sure that all the cables are on a side and I'm not gonna crush it with this little caddy. I'm gonna go ahead and connect the DVD ROM back. So I have SATA 0 and SATA 2 in here. I think SATA 2, doesn't matter which one is which one. The motherboard will figure it out. So I'm gonna plug this one in here, and I'm gonna plug, this is a power cord, this teeny tiny cable in here. I wish Dell would use a regular SATA that I could steal this if I clone a 2.5 to 2.5. Some of these computers came with an actual hard drive, so at one point they were replaced with a solid state. Well, normally what people did, put a 2.5 SATA, clone it over, remove the original hard drive, turn a PC on, and everything worked great. So if something is happening with the SATA, needs to be replaced, it would be nice to have an extra SATA power connector, but we only have one. So I always have a Y cable with me to split this to two. If I have to clone a drive or a SATA from this PC, I can do it inside the machine. So that is great. Okay, make sure that everything is clamped down and locked. This is locked, not coming out, and make sure everything lines up. With this, I normally just put the bottom part in. They have little ears on the bottom to catch the bottom and then curves up, and then I'm just gonna clamp the top down, and as you can see, everything is back on. And with a back cover, I'm hand tightening these screws. I'm not using screwdrivers. It's gonna be enough. It's not gonna vibrate, it's not gonna make a noise. If you hand tie these screws, you're gonna be good to go. With a wet wipe, I'm gonna wipe this computer down. Any of the fingerprints, any of the potential thermal paste I have, I'm just gonna remove it by doing that. I'm making sure that the Dell service tag will be visible and not gonna be wiped off. It's very nice when you have that in front of you. Okay, and then I'm gonna use just a regular paper towel to wipe, scrub everything off. This is normally as hard as I go. Okay. Okay. And the other side. All right, so I made a bootable thumb drive at Microsoft.com. This is ready to go. I already showed you the way to make this. You go to Microsoft.com, you got three options. One, you can perform an in-place upgrade when you download Windows 11. It means if you have Windows 10, you're gonna download that file and it's gonna upgrade everything on a PC with all the application, all the software, all the settings, and migrate it to Windows 11. The other option is when you can create a bootable drive with a second option. You just plug the drive in, you just tell like make me a bootable drive, and it's create a Windows 11 bootable drive. A third option is when you download the actual ISO and nothing will happen, you're gonna have to use a third-party software like Rufus to create a bootable drive with that ISO we just downloaded. So what's the benefit of that? Well, we can make some customizations. Like what kind of customization? We can waive some of the requirements for Windows 11. We can skip the online account creation. We can skip the enforcement of TPN 2.0 and all the other stuff. Create a local user already instead of creating an online account. So, but that is a modification. I'm just gonna use a clean Windows installation from here and install everything from scratch. I already downloaded every single driver. I went to Dell.com, I searched for my model number or entered the service tag, which shows me every potential driver I could possibly need. It's already downloaded in here, just in case if the computer is not recognizing a drive or a Wi-Fi or a network. We don't have a Wi-Fi, but we have a network card, just in case we would need it. I already have it on a thumb drive. So let me move this out of the way, and we're gonna fire this PC up and we'll see how everything goes. I have a wired mouse and keyboard. I have a wireless set, but I'm finding out that most of them are too slow. The PC boots up significantly faster. I usually miss BIOS by the time the wireless kicks in, so I'm still using the hardwired USB cable for the PC. So let me get a power cable, let me set up a monitor, and I'll be right there, and we're gonna go from here. Ownership was 2020 February, so this PC is just a hair old and 4 years. We have 16 gigs of RAM total. We have dual channel memory. We have 8 gig and 8 gig. We only have 2 slots. And instead of going down there, let's scroll down to the bottom, see if we have more information what we are interested. So here we go. We have a Hexa 6-core Intel i5 CPU, which is running on 3 gigahertz. And let's see if we have any drives. Yes, the DVD is connected, and we have a 250 gig M2 PCI drive. We have Intel graphics on a motherboard, and we have a Realtek sound, and we have no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth. So this is all checks. So our thumb drive is start booting. As you can see, we have this circle in here. It looks different than Windows would boot. So I'm just gonna drive you through this real quick. I'm gonna say install now. And these are all used, these are all used, quote unquote, used or open box solid states I bought on eBay. If you buy in bulk, you can get a big discount. Most of them are completely unused. What they're doing is they're buying computers on sale with a small solid state. They remove the solid state, they put brand new, larger solid state in it, and sell the parts, the leftover, on eBay for a low price, which comes handy because I can buy 10 of these open box solid states 250s. These are small drives for like less than $200, about $130, $140 for 10, for $14 each. They are super affordable at this point. So I'm gonna go in here, custom, and make sure that every single thing is removed in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit delete and remove all the partitions on this drive. It's actually not a bad idea to get rid of everything when you buy a used PC or a used solid state. You don't know what's on it. This was a Dell drive. I was able to buy some HP. Doesn't matter whose label is on a drive. They are all coming out of the same manufacturer, Samsung, Western Digital, Micron, doesn't matter. So I have one single unallocated space in here, 238 gigs. This is 250. So we're gonna install Windows. Obviously we had no problem to recognizing the drive in Windows. If there would be no drive found, we would have to insert that F6 drive. Just gonna go through real quick, and I'm pretty sure the next time we're gonna go in, Windows will be up and running. So once we have everything copied and before the PC reboots, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the thumb drive. Also, I forgot to mention that this PC originally came with Windows 10. Microsoft never stopped giving Windows 11 away for free. As long as you have any kind of operating system, legit operating system, Windows 8 or Windows 10. If you have Windows 8, you can upgrade it to Windows 10 for free. And from Windows 10, you can jump to Windows 11 for free. So that is still happening, even if it's not advertised. So the reason why we're doing Windows 11, because Windows 10 is losing support in next November, so we will no longer support it, no longer gonna get security updates and patches. So we are in Windows. I'm just gonna hit the Windows key, start typing update, and I'm gonna go ahead and say check for updates and let everything just be installed by Windows. Even this is the latest in Windows version of Windows 11, there will be still a lot of computer specific and potential patches or images what just was released recently. I am not installing any third-party applications, not even a browser on this PC. Just make sure that all the drivers are fully updated and make sure that Windows Defender is also gets its update. I'm not using any special third-party antivirus. I tried pretty much every single one of them at this point. I feel like whatever is built in Windows don't need to be looked down. It is good as it gets. It's almost good as anything else. I don't do any crazy things. I'm not downloading anything. I'm not Googling anything. So for me, whatever it's in Windows Defender, it's completely suitable, and it's enough. And it's enough for probably most of you. If this is an elderly person, if somebody who's not familiar with a computer or have Windows and these online scams and viruses are working, I would suggest to get something more robust. But for a regular average user, this is completely suitable and doable. So I'm just going to hit download all the updates. I'm also going to go to Dell and start getting the Dell Assistant on a PC, so it will figure it out if anything needs to be updated. Okay, finish. So let's go to Dell support, and I'm gonna go click in download drivers, and I'm gonna let the PC figure it out that we don't have the assistant. I'm gonna grab the assistant, I'm gonna install it, and that will find every single driver, everything for you. So again, this PC has no Wi-Fi. Whoever receiving this PC will have to take care of it. You can go to Amazon and get a $10 or $20 USB dongle, or you can get an internal card and install it inside, either on a circuit board or into the PCI slot in the backside of the PC. So there are quite a few options. I have one specific things I usually use. I think it's a TP-Link Archer. It's a USB cable long enough to maneuver around the PC. It has a dual antenna. I think it gets installed automatically just by plugging it in, and you don't need anything, and it's pretty decent. I would probably go with something like that, but it's all, if you have a hardwired connection, don't worry about the Wi-Fi. Just connect it, and just no delay, no lagging, and no crowded Wi-Fi. Multiple antennas are broadcasting things around. So as you can see the screen jumping back and forth, it means the video card driver, the integrated Intel, is getting updated. But also let's see what kind of driver the Dell Assistant will be coming back with. So let's see how the driver is going in here. So pending restart completed. Once we do one round, it's usually we're gonna do another round as well. So this PC is ready to go. All the Windows updates, all the firmware updates, everything completed. I shut the PC down, turned it back on a couple times. It has no issues whatsoever. The solid state looks healthy. There's no issue with the computer at all. So there is only one thing left to do for me. It is actually start boxing this PC up and send it out to you. Thank you so much for your patience. If I responded back on your email when you requested a computer and said like, yes, I definitely have a computer and I'm gonna be able to ship it out to you, it's happening. So I'm gonna start going back in the order I received. If you emailed me earlier and I responded, I will let you know where are you in the process. So we're gonna move to the third computer, and I can't promise that I'm gonna make a video on every single computer, but the repair videos are keep coming. We're gonna dive into how I usually dial in the operating system after the clean install, just to make sure it runs on the most efficient way as possible. So thank you so much for your time. If you like this video or found it useful, please consider like and subscribe. I'll see you at the next video. Scott's out.